Imagine waking up, walking to your window, and realizing the world has simply vanished. It is December 5th, 1952. You are in London. You step outside, reach out your hand, and you cannot see your own fingertips. This wasn't just fog, it was a wall. A thick, yellow, stinging blanket that smelled like rotten eggs and tasted like wet metal. For 5 days, the sun did not rise. The city of London became a tomb. By the time the sky cleared, 12,000 people would be dead. They didn't die in a war. They didn't die in a plague. They were killed by the very air they breathed. And the government told them it was just the weather. To understand this tragedy, you have to look at London after the war. It was 1952. The city was still rebuilding from the Blitz. Britain was broke. To pay off war debts, the government exported all the high-quality, clean coal to other countries. What was left for the people of London? The garbage. They called it nutty slag. It was cheap, dirty, low-grade coal dust mixed with rocks. But it was cold that December. Freezing cold. So, in millions of fireplaces across the city, people shoveled this dirty fuel into the fire. Simultaneously, massive power stations like Battersea and Bankside were pumping tons of sulfur dioxide right into the heart of the city. Normally, smoke is hot. It rises up into the atmosphere and blows away. But on that Friday, nature set a trap. A massive anticyclone settled over London. It created a phenomenon called a temperature inversion. Imagine a lid placed on a cooking pot. A layer of warm air trapped the cold, stagnant air near the ground. Nothing could escape. Every puff of smoke from a chimney, every exhaust fume from a bus, every particle of soot stayed. And then the fog came. It mixed with the smoke to create smog. But Londoners had a different name for it. They called it a pays-sous-pay because it was thick, yellow, and greasy. By Saturday morning, the city stopped functioning. Drivers abandoned their cars in the middle of the road because they couldn't see the hood of their own vehicle. Ambulances stopped running. Fire trucks drove at walking pace, with a man walking in front holding a flare, trying to find the burning buildings. But the horror wasn't just on the streets, it was cultural. At the famous Sadler's Wells Theater, the opera La Traviata was cancelled halfway through. Not because the singers got sick, but because the fog had leaked inside the theater, and the audience in the back row couldn't see the stage. The first sign that this was deadly didn't come from humans. It came from animals. That week, the Smithfield Club Cattle Show was taking place. Prize-winning cows, the healthiest in the country, suddenly started choking. Their tongues turned black. They gasped for air. 12 majestic cows had to be euthanized on the spot to end their suffering. The cows were the warning, but the humans didn't listen. They kept burning the coal. What people didn't realize was that they weren't just breathing smoke. Chemistry was happening in the sky. The sulfur dioxide from the coal mixed with the water droplets in the fog. It created a chemical reaction that turned the fog into concentrated sulfuric acid. Londoners were literally breathing acid. It burned the lining of the throat. It filled the lungs with fluid. People were drowning on dry land. Those with asthma or bronchitis didn't stand a chance. They died in their armchairs, gasping for a breath that wouldn't come. With the blindness came the darkness of human nature. London became a lawless city. Criminals realized the police were effectively blind. Smash and grab raids became common. Looters broke shop windows, grabbed jewelry, and vanished into the yellow mist before anyone could react. Young women were afraid to walk home. In the dark, you couldn't see who was standing just 2 feet away from you until they grabbed you. By day 4, the city ran out of everything. Florists ran out of flowers for funerals. Undertakers ran out of coffins. The bodies piled up in morgues. There were so many dead that there were weeks-long waiting lists just to get buried. And what did the government do? They denied it. Harold Macmillan, the Minister of Housing, said it was just a flu epidemic. Why? Because admitting the truth meant admitting that the government's economic policy of selling good coal and burning bad coal was killing its own citizens. They chose the economy over lives. On Tuesday, December 9th, a brisk wind finally blew in from the west. The lid was lifted. The pea souper vanished down the Thames estuary. The sun shone on a city that had lost 12,000 souls. It took 4 years of public outrage to finally pass the Clean Air Act of 1956. It banned black smoke. It forced factories to move out of the city. It changed how the world thinks about pollution. But as we look at megacities today, choking in their own gray smog, we have to ask, have we really learned a lesson? Or are we just waiting for the wind to change again? This is the Nation Archives. Subscribe, because history is a warning.